Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Omnipresent Information Connection. My name is Noah Hanson, here with Kevin Peterson, and on this podcast, we are concluding the three-part podcast on the five-step process of teaching, training, motivating, and now directing and guiding. So this podcast, we intend to send you off in a positive direction, where at the conclusion, you will understand the importance of having the proper direction and guidance in your life. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you off to Kevin Peterson here. Pastor Kevin, tell us about the importance of direction and guidance in everyday life.
Well, thank you, Noah, and that was a great introduction. Talking about being direct and directing people, right? When we are directing you, we are using the very best of our teaching, training, motivating to be able to then direct you and guide you on your life path and combining them all together to become whole and complete as a person.
Yes, and that, of course, includes the guidance part of it, the guiding.
Mm-hmm. And I'll get to that in a minute, right? I got to be able to take a gentle walk, but a deep walk in the directing part. As you know, with anything in life, just like a movie or a play, you have a director.
Yes.
That has to be able to know the scenes and know behind the scenes and to be able to orchestrate it all simultaneously together to be able to make that performance, to be able to make that act something worth watching, right?
Right. So are you saying the director in a movie or in a play has kind of like a bird's eye view? He knows everything that's going on behind the scenes and in front of the audience itself.
Yes.
So are you saying when we're gaining direction in our life, it needs to come from a bird's eye view?
Not only a bird's eye view, but it needs to come from a point of view of someone that is already whole and complete as a person. The power behind that and the authority behind that and the empowerment that you get from it is knowing that that person is not going to put you into harm's way. That person is not going to make you take steps in a wrongful direction due to a purposeful intent, right? That person would be able to teach, train, and motivate as well as directing and guiding you into the right area that you need to be at all times. Being able to then live out the performance of your life in a manner that's not only suiting to you, but everyone around you too, right? Because we can't help but to be on display. We're on display 24/7, 365.
Yes, especially with social media.
But how we are directed gets us a result that we all yearn for to receive for ourselves. Here at the OIC and in a new way, our whole soul, goal, and intention is getting you to these last two parts because it's important. You need to have a role model. You need to be able to have a guide. You need to have a mentor. You need to have a coach. You need to have a best friend or someone of trust to be able to then have a handful of positive elements that can be able to guide you into the universe, guide you into the destiny of your dreams, right?
Yeah, so what do we say to the people who are thinking of this person in their lives and they can't think of anyone?
Mm-hmm. It happens a lot that people get misplaced unintentionally. When it comes to finding a mentor, when it comes to finding a coach, when it comes to finding the it factor person that they can resonate with, they have to get out of their comfort zone. They have to get it up off their couch, out of their dwelling and into a new environment in order for them to be able to receive from God or from the universe, however your religion plays out.
Okay, yep.
The empowerment of literally embodying your willpower to find that said person, right? Otherwise, you can go online, and there's a lot of great mentors and coaches out there, but let me ask you a serious question.
Yeah.
One, are they truly resonating with you, or are they just giving you just great information?
Yes.
And you're just feeling good about it?
Yes, that's an important distinction, because sometimes you may be seeking a teacher, a mentor in your life, but you're not actually seeking someone to walk you through the difficult trials and things you have to overcome in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're just looking for someone who can maybe train you in a certain skill or piece of information, knowledge base that seems appealing to you.
Yeah.
This is something that I actually went through, as you know, Kevin, because during my hitchhike is when I met a ton of people that fit into that second category. They had information that I liked, and I loved to hear from them, and I loved the conversations we were having, but I couldn't be myself to the point where I knew and I was being called out on things I needed to improve on. And so that wasn't really a mentor or a teacher. They were just people who I enjoyed having conversations about certain topics with.
Mm-hmm.
A real teacher and a trainer is someone who is there to walk you through things, even if it's difficult.
Correct. The number one thing in finding a mentor or a coach, have they been through what you're going through?
Right. Yep.
If not, there's a disconnect, right?
Yes.
Now, here's where the ball stops. Is that many times people only look for people, coaches, mentors, trainers, whatever, that have gone through the same similar thing, just to be able to have that comfortability to be able to resonate with that person.
Right. When in some cases, those teachers and trainers that they're choosing may have not overcome what they're trying to overcome. They've just gone through what they've need to overcome now.
Right.
So you're now in a relationship where you're both trying to overcome a certain obstacle, and you may be helping each other as far as relating to each other and helping you find some comfort. I believe we talked about this in a past episode. But they're not actually giving you the steps needed because they don't know them. They haven't put them in place yet
Right.
to help you overcome certain parts of your life.
In my 33 years plus in counting of teaching, training, motivating, directing, and guiding, I've never been in a position to where I could not help a living soul. Not saying that things haven't been not so easy or that I didn't have difficulties, but what I'm saying is that I don't have to go through all of the world trauma, all of the world events in order to be able to free you from them. Because when a person, singular, is whole and complete as a person, there's no agenda behind it. There's no private goal that needs to be attended to. And then third, there is no satisfactory reward on an individual level versus a team level, right? So when coaching people, it's important that sometimes you need to be able to pick someone, choose someone that not necessarily hasn't gone through what you've gone through, but knows on how to be able to overcome it, right?
Exactly.
When you start prejudging, when you start trying to gauge someone else, could this person help me? What is always beneficial is asking them a simple question.
Okay.
And that is, if you haven't gone through it in your shortest version possible, in your own words, what would you say or what would you do to be able to help a person that has gone through that problem and or issue, right?
Okay, and you've been asked this question
Many, many times, right?
So what do you have to say to that?
The bottom line is that it's not just me helping you. I have so many years of client experience that I have been able to gather all of my clients together into one beautiful container, if you wish, to be able to harness the information, the knowledge, the experience, the guidance, and the direction to be able to help you get out of it. Because out of all the hundreds of thousands of people that I've talked to and have coached and mentored into becoming incredibly successful people, I have learned from all of them. And one of the number one keys in finding a coach, a mentor, someone that can be able to direct you and then guide you, is to be able to have someone that has had that experience for many, many years, being in that environment, talking about that particular subject, and having a whole choir of people giving feedback as far as what they did, how they experienced it, how they overcame it through their testimonies, right?
Yes.
I then have a data bank or a collection of then wisdom and knowledge and experience to be able to then give onto that person that is going through that same exact issue. But I do it in a new way. I let them know that they're not alone, nor will they ever be alone. The second thing is that privacy in today's time is so critical, right? People have got to have the highest level of privacy possible. That's what we provide in a new way. That's what we provide at the OIC, right? And Pathways Prosperity Group, because it's no one else's business. We put all of our dirty laundry out on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else for all the world to be able to see for no reward and only regret later, right? So it's important that when you're trying to find a mentor or a coach, someone that can guide you and direct you in the right way, you need to put an O in the center of guiding and directing and spell that three letters out, right? G-O-D, right?
Yes, I see that.
If you don't, you're missing out on a beautiful opportunity. I'm not Bible thumping you. I'm not causing you to be able to choose a religion. But what I am doing is being able to let you know that there are thousands among thousands of people within the Bible that have gone through similar situations and circumstances, and they all have become victorious in their own unique way. So using that as the source helps a lot, because you're being able to see from hundreds of years ago even worse trials and tribulations of what's going on now, and how they were able to say what they needed to say and do what they needed to do. That really helps. The next thing that I've got in my arsenal of education is I've got ancestral wisdom. I can remember many, many days of weeks and months and years being able to sit with my grandmother, my grandfather, as they were going through a much harder period of time than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, that most of my ancestry had to come from overseas to the United States to be able to have a level of freedom. And being able to listen to their stories and be able to listen to their conflicts and to be able to try to figure out, migrate through their stories to be able to kind of picture myself in that position and what would I do? What would I say, right?
Yeah.
And they all, my ancestors, I love them dearly. My grandmothers and my grandpas, right? They all would say to me, what would Jesus do?
Hmm.
Right? Now, for those non-religious, non-Christian based people that may be hearing this podcast and they're just really wanting to be able to find a mentor or a guide, what would the number one person that's actually setting the example, what are they to you? Are they your close friends? Are they your relatives? Are they even your acquaintances? Have you talked to them on or offline? Have you been able to get one-on-one with them? Because a lot of people think that Tony Robbins and Les Brown and a lot of other great professional motivational speakers are hard to get in contact with. But in today's internet era, it's easy to send an email, to be able to send a message, to be able to send a text, right?
Sure.
To try to be able to ask them their opinion or view on something, right?
Right. And a lot of these professionals have actual groups of people that can get in contact with you,
Right.
and talk about certain issues and topics that they would have expertise in.
Right. So here's a positive pathway is that if you have chosen to be able to leave God out of it, then I'm at least putting you into the footprints of other mentors that are really incredible people that could be able to inspire you, could be able to guide you and direct you into the right outcomes of your life today, right?
Right. And if one person doesn't work out, if you continue seeking, you're going to find the right person.
Right.
But you have to be able and willing to seek them out.
So that's directing. Guiding. Let's get on to guiding. A lot of people, and I mean a lot, have been looking for a guiding light. Was, and probably still is, one of the greatest soap operas on TV, right? Guiding Light, right? For those of you women that know about the soap operas, what made Guiding Light so popular and so resonating to most women? Because it had some of the most empowering characters that I've ever seen on a soap opera, right?
Yeah,
Now,
I'm out of the water with this one.
well, yeah.
That's before my time.
Right. But what I'm trying to be able to resonate is that I would have to watch with my grandmother, and then I'd have to watch with my mother this show, Guiding Light, because she wouldn't let me watch anything until after she watched her Guiding Light, right?
Gotcha.
But here was the difference between other soap operas and Guiding Light. Guiding Light really had a lot of harsh topics that they covered, whether it be rape or incest or affairs or the like, right?
Yep. Okay.
But how they were able to teach, train, motivate, direct, and guide these characters into being able to educate the viewers, even though this was a soap opera, even though it was a drama, it was very educational on how they literally performed this TV show, right?
Yeah, there's actual value.
Actual
that people
value,
could learn
right?
From it.
And that's what I'm getting at, is that in the guiding portion of things, you need to be a person of value in order to be able to guide someone to the final resting place of their destiny. Right?
Yes.
So you have to be the guiding light. You have to be the beacon that actually resonates and is what they are wanting in themselves, right?
Yeah.
So when guiding someone, you need to be able to do it without an agenda. You need to be able to do it without a worldly purpose. You need to be able to do it without you in it. But and this is the only but in this whole entire conversation.
Okay.
But you need to be able to do it in a new way.
Yeah.
You need to be able to do it to where you are the last person of importance. And what's more important is the wisdom, the knowledge, the actual insight on how to literally take someone hand by hand and guide them to not only an open door, not only to the right pathway, but to guide them to a conclusion that not only makes them feel so whole and complete as a person, but they literally start to think, how could I have gotten here any sooner? Right? People ask me all the time, if I'd only humbled myself, if I'd only allowed you to be able to resonate through me, to be able to help guide me to that destination, we probably have gotten here a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. But because I had pride or arrogance, or I was afraid emotionally that you would take advantage of me, right?
Right.
So many people are being taken advantage of for all the worldly wrong ways.
Yes.
Here at A New Way, we don't do that. We don't have an agenda. We don't have something sorcery in mind for you to be able to overcome, right? All we bring is hard and true facts that become relevant, personal, and intimate to everyone that listens to it, that applies it, and becomes it today. Whatever that is. If you're wanting to be a better speaker, if you want to be a better communicator, if you want to be able to be a better, and then you fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is, the reason why Noah and I have created this platform, the reason why Noah and I have created this podcast is to be able to show you in a new way on how to be able to overcome all obstacles in your life starting today. And not everything is going to be accomplished in a day, of course. That's unreasonable. But for the first time in a long time, you've been able to come to a source, come to a level of education and awareness and information that you can be able to read, apply, and become. These three factors are so important because if we just went through grade school and high school and we just read the information without actually putting forth the effort of actually solving math equations and that sort of thing, how differently would our lives have been? We wouldn't have been able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. We wouldn't have been able to know about history. We wouldn't have known on how to do math. We wouldn't have known science, right? If we didn't apply one word, effort, to any of the information, right?
Yes. Important.
So our school teachers, God bless them all, are steadfast at being able to help people apply the right needed effort to be able to create the right result, but always in a new way. So Noah, in conclusion, what would you like to add?
Thank you, Kevin. I liked what you were saying about how when you're a director, when you're a guide in someone's life, it has to be without any selfish intention. And a great podcast to listen to hear more about what we're talking about when we say no selfish intention is the Selflessness podcast. Because when you are in contact with a teacher or a trainer, a director or a guide in your life, then that person, and a motivator too, that person so often in this world is still lacking in character, not whole and complete, and for that reason, they take you off the deep end with them. And that happens you see it in the news all the time. There's people who had trusted individuals in their lives that betrayed them. Mm-hmm. And now they can't trust anyone.
Right.
The most important thing about gaining direction and guidance in your life is trust. You have to be able to trust that this person is going to be who they say they are, give you the right information, and is someone that you can trust in sharing your information with. That's why at In a New Way, if you are doing and signing up for our life coaching services, we have confidentiality forms so that you know your information's private.
Right.
And what else do we have to be able to comfort the clients at In a New Way, Kevin?
Well, not only do you sign a confidentiality agreement, but we also have processes in place to where you can be able to literally have a recording of our coaching that you can be able to take home with you so that you can be able to have other people listen to it as well, to be able to keep us accountable and responsible for the information that we give. Other people like to be able to have a video recorded conversation, and every Skype and every Zoom is recorded as well for that particular comfort as well due to COVID-19. So at all times, your personal character matters. Your privacy matters. And more importantly, your life matters to us. And so with that being said, is that we have a 3-positioned system to where if you resonate with me, you can be able to have coaching with me. If you resonate with Noah, you can have coaching with Noah. If you like to be able to have us combined together to be able to teach, train, motivate, direct, and guide you in a new way, then we have those services available as well. So we always provide you with a higher level of expectations of services so that you get the results that you feel most comfortable with today.
Yes, and it's a blessing to be able to do that with you, Kevin. Now, here's what I'm wanting most importantly to get through to you listeners, is that there are times in our lives when we feel like we can't trust anyone with certain information. And when you're at that point in your life, one of the most important things, relationships that you can have in life is, of course, a relationship with Jesus Christ, a relationship with God, who is omnipresent. He's present wherever you are. You can't escape him, can't run away from him. You can try, but it won't work. Who is all-knowing. He knows your heart, he knows your thoughts, he knows everything you've been through and more, how to overcome it. And he's omnipotent. He's all powerful, which means he can do anything. At the drop of a hat, he can heal you. Now, I'm not saying you need to expect that, but what I am saying is that the most trusted personal being in the world is God. And so if you feel like you can't lean on anyone as a director or a guide in your life, lean on God. At the very least, make that commitment to Jesus to be able to trust in him.
And if you'd like to be able to know more about the Bible and to be able to simplify the Word of God, we have Bible studies that are available too that Noah and I can be able to put you through to be able to give you the information that you need today.
Yeah, we can guide you through those Bible studies. So I'm going to read just a few areas of the Bible about guidance. Psalm 119. Why does the Bible say this? He says, Psalm 119, verse 105, "Your word is a lamp for my feet and a light for my path." Well, he's telling us, or the author of the psalm is telling us, that the Bible works. If you learn from its teachings, if you apply them to your life, if you walk in the way that the Bible is telling you to walk in, that Jesus is telling you to walk in, it works. It's been a lamp for his feet and a light for his path. It can for you too. That's why what you're talking about earlier, learning from people in the Bible, is so important. And it's the trust that they had in God that really brought a lot of these people through trials and tribulations. Then moving on, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5 says, "Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance." So even if you're wise, even if you're whole and complete as a person, even if you have a wealth of information and know all the teachings that you need to know, continue learning. Continue to pray for discernment, and you can still receive guidance in your life. So no matter what level you are on, that's why God is so important. If you're the wisest individual like Solomon that's ever lived, you can still learn and be guided by God. And it's important to know that. It's comforting when you really grasp that, because you always have that best friend, not only best friend, but creator, father in your life to guide you through whatever you're going through. And then finally, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. So not only can an individual fall from not having the proper guidance in their life, the Bible says a whole nation can fall, a whole people, a whole group of people, no matter how big, can fall when there's no guidance. When there's not an orderly hierarchy in your life of people of authority that are guiding you through scenarios in your life, then it's easy to get off track. It's easy to fall. But an abundance of counselors, therein is safety. So more than one counselor, an abundance of counselors. And why is this so important? When you have more than just a few people in your life, if one of those people ends up not being right for you, you don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
And there's different perspectives. Like here at In a New Way, we have Pathways Prosperity Group, which is more than just Kevin and I. There's multiple people that are part of that who are able to share different perspectives and viewpoints that may be able to help someone in a way that you or I can't.
Correct.
So an abundance of counselors, there is safety.
Because the number one thing, the number one gift, the number one blessing that I have in my life is that whatever you're going through, whatever struggle you have, and you're needing to be able to find the key person to be able to help you overcome it. That's why I created Pathways Prosperity Group, because it's a group of people, coaches, psychologists, and other trainers that have specialty in certain fields, right? So if you are looking for something spot on, specific, I have those people in mind that I can be able to refer you to. The reason why that's so important is because you're wanting to get to the source of whatever it is that's troubling you, right? So if you need that reference, if you need that type of person that is more just specialized in just relationships, or just in marriages, or just in spiritual counseling, whatever, I have them available, but you have to be able to contact us for that to become readily available, because I value the privacy of those people as well. And so it's my gift or my secret gift to you if that is something that's important to you, right?
Right, and I love your emphasis on privacy. It's important not only for clients, people who are seeking coaching in their life, to have privacy, but also the coaches themselves. So we hope, listeners, that what this podcast did for you is it enlightened you, it clarified your pathway moving forward so that you can move forward in a positive direction. If you feel like there isn't a director or a guide, someone in your life who you can trust deeply and share intimate details of your life with to be able to overcome certain obstacles and issues in your life, then we hope this podcast has inspired you to seek them out and be able to do so in a way that makes sense and is successful in your search for that person or group of people in your life. And of course, we hope that if you weren't inspired to reach out to God for this type of need in your life, then you feel willing and ready to be able to do that after listening to this podcast. This has been the conclusion to the Teaching, Training, Motivating, Directing, and Guiding 3-part series of the OIC podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll meet you on the next episode.
This has been another life-enhancing, authenticated podcast aired by the OIC and brought to you by the faithful OIC sponsors and contributors. Please tune in every week and subscribe to our podcast. And while you're there, explore our website with all the posts, videos, and podcasts that we have created with you in mind. While you're on the journey through our website, you will see our Patreon page where you can become a faithful contributor yourself with the freedom to be a part of our team today. Thank you.